Hello and good evening. 2022 general elections are taking shape and top contenders for electoral positions are stretching their political muscles to show their might in preparation for the general elections. Welcome to yet another amazing informative show where we give you insight into the political world as we get closer and closer to the next general elections. There's so many political events that are shaping our future, and together with my panel, which I will introduce shortly, we will try to understand and give you the meaning and the consequences of all these happenings in the political landscape. Well, my name is Eugene Ochieng Pudge. Of course, you can continue interacting with us. That is at GBS TV Africa, at Eugene Ochieng Pudge. That is on all social media platforms. But you can also interact with us one-on-one on 21144. That is our SMS line. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the conversation tonight is about the happenings in the political landscape. And of course, my guests tonight are political analysts and commentators and a lawyer, of course, who, of course, through their eyes, we are going to understand deeply what is happening in the political sphere. Well, I'll start to introduce my guest. We have Mirimo Nyongesa. Mirimo Nyongesa is a political commentator as well as a lawyer. We have Samuel Masika. Samuel Masika is a political analyst amongst many other caps and hats that he wears in the political sphere as well. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for finding time for this show. And we're going to start the show right now. And of course, let's start the show with the arrival of the Secretary of State of the United States of America, State Antony Blinken, in his two-day visit to Kenya. What is the Kenya interest in Kenya? U.S. interest in Kenya, having been long allies and Kenya heading to the general elections. Let me start with you, Mr. Samuel Masika.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eugene, for having me. I'm glad to be here on GBS TV. The coming of the Secretary of State from U.S. to Kenya is an expression of confidence that the United States has in Kenya. And for a long time, the United States has had a lot of interest in this country. Diplomatic relationship between Kenya and the United States has been good. And yeah, even as we want to change regimes from one to another, the U.S. has always looked at what they can do to ensure that there's sustainability of their interest within the country. So we would want to look at it as a vote of confidence, because I think recently we had our president visiting the White House. That is, for us diplomatically, that shows, and I think he's the first African president to even interact with the current president of the United States since he was elected. So I would say this shows a good relationship with the last time we had Barack Obama coming around, because you know the United States, they have a lot of information about African countries. They are looking at it, and they are also supportive of countries that are pushing their agenda or agendas that are United States friendly or people friendly. So I want to say there's something that Kenya is doing right. That's why we are having the Secretary of State visiting.
Mr. Mirimo Nyongesa,
Yes.
In adding to that, let me get to ask you this question. Recently, there was a question of the influence of the system in the electoral processes by a certain governor. And of course, he said that we have the system, and of course, there's also an international community, which of course are also into the electoral process. Somehow they know what they do there. What do you think when we are seeing U.S. Now visiting Kenya, we are seeing these international communities? Of course, as they just say that they are showing their confidence in Kenyans. What do you think? What do you make of all these?
I think I'll take that as mere politics. Everyone is trying to express their position, to express their confidence, to really understand what's really going on. But with regard to the visit of the United States Secretary to Kenya, we need to understand that barely 2 years ago, after Kenya had been through a very bruising electoral process, you know, American business interests were really hurt. And at a time when they were just trying to consolidate their business position within, you know, Kenya is a strategic gateway to Eastern Sub-Saharan Africa. So at a time they were really trying to reaffirm their position within the region, COVID-19 struck, understand? So after COVID-19, again, we're entering another electoral process, understand? So it's, I think, in one way or another, the American government is trying to ensure that this time round, we do not repeat, or rather whatever happened in 2017, 2018 doesn't recur in the next electoral process. Another possible factor that might have influenced the Secretary of State of the US to visit Kenya, we understand our neighbors, Ethiopia, are going through really tough times, understand? And as I've explained before, Kenya being a strategic gateway and a strategic partner of the US in the region, I think it goes without saying that the peace and stability of the region is crucial to the progress of Americans' business interests, understand? And so, and that's why the visit comes just days after Uhuru has been to Addis Ababa to try and mediate the warring factions. Yes.
Well, let me get to ask you this question. Of course, as the D-Day gets closer and closer, and of course, when we talk about the D-Day, there is the political contest, of course, which the media has termed a two-horse race among two top political contenders. Now, let me ask you this. Even as you're going to the D-Days, it's approaching, it's good that you have mentioned about security. And of course, speaking still on the security issue, of course, we understand that security plays a very important role in ensuring the stability, of course, of the country, in transitioning of the government from one person or one government to the other. The recent Uganda attacks, what does it mean? And of course, and Ethiopian militants taking over the country. What should we actually be worried as a nation?
First of all, I would like to interject a little bit on what my colleague, not my colleague, but my friend here said about the deep state and system issues. The governor, I don't know whether I will be free to mention him, who said those sentiments. He's been a public servant. And so if he came on TV and confirmed that elections are determined by a number of factors apart from the voting, first of all, that is a very discouraging remark, especially recently we had people going to take votes. You know, we were told young people were supposed to register as voters, and I was trying to interact with a few of them. A number of them told us that the reason why they have not gone to pick votes is because there's somebody else who determines who becomes the president. And so those were very discouraging remarks, and in that occasion, the voter apathy. And now coming to your issue, securities.
Do you personally believe in the system?
I do not believe in the system, but I believe there are elements who might want to manipulate the outcome of results. And so that if we call it...
Has it been done before in Kenya?
I would like to say yes, because even the Supreme Court has determined that the elections were not done properly and the way they are supposed to be done. So I think we cannot underestimate the fact that there's a system, because we all know we go to the polling station, we vote, elections are relayed to the main tallying center. So those should be final results. But if the results at the tallying center, now that is maybe the voting, the polling station, are not the same ones that will be relayed to the tallying center, or are not in harmony, then there should be a systemic, would I even call them a system? These are people who are interrupting the system. And so it's a crook, because they are interrupting the real system that should really be working. So I want to believe there are people who interrupt the system, especially of relaying election results. We've had discomfort since 2007. Initially, we used to bring forms manually to the National Tallying Center. You remember what happened in 2007? People were so uncomfortable with those results. The same happened in 2013. Because we need to have a transparent election where if I'm contesting with, for example, my friend here, and he loses, he clearly knows that he lost fairly. But most of the time, it is not clear. You cannot clearly say how you lost, because most of these aspirants, they normally have their agents.
When you talk about some people trying to navigate through the system,
yes,
some crooks, actually,
yes,
as you have
yes,
called them,
yes.
Are these crooks people like me and you, like Mirimo Nyongesa, like Pudge, like
yes,
Masika?
Yes.
Or what actually makes them have an upper hand in maybe destroying or maybe manipulating the system?
Well, one of the things that you already alluded to is that the international community has interests, and my colleagues supported, and you're saying Kenya is a strategic partner in this region.
Okay.
And so everybody will be interested on who becomes the head of state, because that determines the diplomatic ties that we are going to have with other countries.
Okay.
So it's possible that somebody may want to come in, and especially having listened to the governor of Nyandarua, that is Honorable Kimemia. Is it Memia?
Yes, Kimemia.
Yes, Francis.
Yes.
And what he said, he said that elections are not only determined at the polling center, but also there are other interests that determines who becomes the elected, especially at the national level.
Okay.
And that's why I was saying such a statement is discouraging, especially from a former public officer, to those of us who are actually not privy to what happens in here.
Okay.
And that would even send shivers to me, considering that at the moment we have the interior, CS, we have the same person who is occupying the PS interior, trying to look like they're playing the same role that was being played then by the same governor when he was in. Because you've had, especially, personally, I would want to say that it is also not, it's not in good faith to have them coming out publicly and saying we are supporting a certain candidate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me give Mirimo Nyongesa a time to make a rejoinder before we come back to the question that I've just asked you about the security.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Mirimo, what do you think?
To respond to
Yes.
the explanation of other allegations, is that I think I think the governor was taken out of context.
Okay.
He didn't really mean that there are certain elements within the system that determine who becomes the president other than the polling station. But I think what he meant is that we have other elements that go beyond the polling station that are interested in who becomes the president. Not they determine. You see, they're interested in who becomes the president.
Okay.
Just the way we Kenyans, we're always interested in who becomes the next American president, because we are worried of the immigration policies, the what and whatever. So these are other elements, and these other parties, they're also interested in who becomes the next president in Kenya, because they have their own business interests, whatever, you know. And that's why countries have foreign policies, understand? So if it was in the strict interpretation of the sovereignty of a country, understand, then we'll go with your worries. But because a country, no country is an island, they must work in partnership with other countries, they must work in partnership with other interests, whether open or hidden, understand? So they're justified to be interested in who becomes the next president.
Will they be justified? I remember there was a time, I don't know, in this country, there was a time where foreign aid, especially to CSOs, was stopped. You know, and that money was supposed to come in, and I think that is running up to, I don't know whether it was running up to 2013 election, where the CSOs, especially funding that was supposed to come in for civil education, I think it should have been 2013, because that is when we were told that choices have consequences. And so their funding that was supposed to come in to facilitate civic education, that was stopped, and I don't know, but at the moment I think NGOs are doing well, because that at some point the relationship.
Just to interject on
Yes.
that, I think they were justified
Yes.
to determine on whom to extend their funding or their grants,
Yes.
and whom not to extend to. You understand?
Okay.
Because you know, at that time, the two are ICC inductees. Understand? Right now, they've been exonerated from the ICC hook. and that's why you see funds are flowing. You know, these are established democracies.
Actually, my point was it's the Kenyan government that stopped those monies that were supposed to be sent to those CSOs. The money could not come through.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
let's just go straight to the question that I asked you.
On the security.
On the security.
Okay.
We have, of course, the security issue. We have the Ethiopian militants taking over the country.
Yeah.
And of course, we also have, recently, we saw a terrorist attack in Uganda.
Yes.
As Kenyans, being in the same block as these two countries, are security issues in these countries. Is this something that should worry us even as we are headed towards 2022 elections?
Exactly. One of the things that I really agree with Nyongesa here is that security, Kenya is a strategic gateway to East Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa. That I will not dispute. And therefore, even as situations of insecurity precipitate around its neighbors, it should really be worrying. I'm glad at the moment the 3 escapees from Kamiti prison have been rearrested, and it would really worry me more why they would even break out of prison, because then they would just be getting out here to advance their terrorist attacks against the Kenyans. So having seen what is happening in Uganda should really worry Kenyans, because they are our neighbors. And one of the things that I would agree with you, if Uganda is being beaten, we need to be very careful, put security measures in place. For a long time, I think in Kenya we are so proactive towards, not really proactive, I think we are reactive. Because we relax security until when we see insecurities around us and around the border. So I think security should be taken seriously all the time. And like what is happening in Ethiopia should not be downplayed, because it can come down to us. We have a porous border between Kenya and Ethiopia, Kenya and Uganda. People just move in and out of Uganda. So I think we should heighten security measures, and also ensure that we support, because Kenya, I think Kenya has a lot of intelligence advantages that can actually support other countries. I would like to actually congratulate the Kenyan president, because he went to stand with the Ethiopians because of what is happening. And I pray that Ethiopians knew that their country is really precious, and so they stop destroying it through the civil unrest that we are experiencing right now. But whatever is happening in Ethiopia should really worry us, because it can de-escalate and get down to Kenya.
Mirimo, do you think that what is happening in Ethiopia or Uganda can get us sooner rather than later?
Yeah.
Is it something that should worry us actually?
Actually, it's a big cause for alarm, not just to Kenya, but Africa at large. You understand? Because it's at a time when West Africa is already grappling with the effects of Boko Haram. We already have other terrorist elements in this Southern Africa, Mozambique. DRC is unstable, as we know. So the most stable region of Africa has always been Eastern Sub-Saharan Africa, East Africa, so to say. Understand? The Horn of Africa has always been unstable, Djibouti, Somalia, understand? So if today Ethiopia was destabilized, because it has really been an integral element in maintaining regional peace and security, sending troops to South Sudan, sending troops to Somalia. And so with the situation in Ethiopia, it's recalling back its troops, you understand? So recalling back its troops from the AMISOM, it emboldens Al-Shabaab in Somalia. They emboldened Al-Shabaab with the renewed spirit of now the newest ISIS. It's called ISIS-K, supporting Al-Shabaab and supporting Boko Haram in West Africa. Then it's a cause for alarm in Kenya. Understand? We have to understand that recently, with the ruling of the ICJ, our relationship with Somali, Federal Government of Somalia, is frosty. Understand? Because Kenya has refused to cede even an inch with regard to the maritime border dispute. And so we have had some political rumors, but ansamanga lisemwalo lipo, kama lipo basi laja, understand? Of the government of Somalia allowing Al-Shabaab to attack us. So when Ethiopia withdraws its troops, you understand, it leaves us...
Do you think this is something that can happen in the future?
Yes, it leaves us vulnerable to attacks from our eastern front. That's from Somalia, Kiunga, in Lamu there, because they always cross. The border is so porous. We need to understand that northern Kenya has always been unstable. As a country, as much as we are politically stable, northern Kenya has not been so peaceful. We have had our own internal skirmishes with the bandits in Laikipia and whatever. We have had rebel groups crossing from Ethiopia to the Kenyan side and even killing security apparatus. We have had people fighting in Somalia through Mandera border. The war coming into Kenya and causing fatalities within our security apparatus, you see. So if Ethiopia becomes unstable, Somalia becomes unstable, Uganda is being attacked on the other side, you see. As a country, it really makes us vulnerable because even our relationship with Tanzania is not that good. And so with the, again, unstable south through Mozambique and DRC, also maybe in one or another, Uganda.
I'd like us to shift focus a bit to now the politics of the day, actually, that we will be discussing as well politics. And of course, my question tonight, we have the Deputy President, William Samoei Ruto, who for now quite a long time has been seen or has declared himself or has been termed as not part of the government. He has actually said that he's no longer part of the government. He's no longer being given official duties. This man, William Samoei Ruto, wants to become the next president of Kenya, the fifth president. And of course, as I said earlier, that the media has termed the 2022 as a two-horse race among top contenders, that is Raila Amolo Odinga and William Samoei Ruto. Well, in this conversation, I'd love to pose many questions to you, among, of course, them being, is there a possibility of us seeing a third force? But before that, let me ask you this plainly. What is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's part in the succession politics 2022, even as we head there? What is his major part? Does this man, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, has even a role to play? Yes. What is it?
One of the things that I would say, the president, that is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, he's been the president of this country for the past 9 years, and so there are things that he has been putting in place. And so if he said he doesn't have interest after 2022, then I'll be very worried because your success is actually seen through your successor. And so we've been singing Kibaki even after he's gone because there are things that he put in place. And it is in its best interest that they be sustained. So I want to say that the president may not outrightly come out and say, I want so and so, but we can read the body language, we can look at the meetings he's holding, we can look at, among many other things, just to know. But he really has a need. He really should have an interest on who becomes the next president because there are a number of things that he has put in place. There are projects. Right now we can talk about the big four. I think they have not even taken off. So he should be having an interest on who becomes the president after 2022 or during the forthcoming elections because there are things that he has put in place. Some of them are maybe at the foundation level by the time we are doing elections. So it would really not look well if those things were just left untouched by the next person who comes in with a very contrary manifesto to what he has today. So in my own view, I think the president should have an interest on who becomes the president after him.
Okay, Mr. Yes. Do you believe the president, that is President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, must, has the interest in who becomes or who takes from him the mantle of leadership?
I actually like how you're putting it. Does the president have an interest in who succeeds him? Not will the president determine, you understand?
Yes.
He has an interest on who becomes his successor, just as the way you also have an interest on who becomes the next president, just as the way, you know, he's a citizen just like any other, you see, with the sovereign right to determine who becomes the next premier, understand? So I would say without a shred of doubt, yes. He has an interest, just like Mirimo Nyongesa has an interest, who's going to be the next president. I think what he's so much interested in is that his legacy lives on. I think President Kenyatta's legacy has largely been anchored on peace and stability of the country and the region at large, understand? And so as we were starting this conversation, we said Kenya is a strategic gateway to Eastern Sub-Saharan Africa, and its peace and stability is crucial and integral to the progress of the nation and the region at large, understand? So the president will really be keen to ensure that whoever succeeds him lives on with the legacy of peace and stability. It's so sad that the president has had to grapple with the stubbornness of his deputy, understand, who is constantly undermining him and undermining his legacy. And I think that's why there's been all this much noise that the president is struggling to determine who succeeds him. No. He only has an interest, the way all 47 million Kenyans have an interest on who succeeds them.
Let me ask you this to you, Mr. Masika.
Yes.
Why would the president grapple with the stubbornness of the deputy?
It's actually too blunt to put it that way.
If I could use the words of Mirimo Nyongesa, if actually we had seen that towards the 2013 and 2017 elections, there was this notion of kumi yangu, kumi yake, kumi ya William.
Exactly.
And of course, we knew that immediately he got his 10 years, of course, he was going to support William Samoei Ruto.
Exactly.
But as things stand, we have seen that the relationship between the president and the deputy president is at rock bottom.
Okay.
Now, my question tonight is, in all these happenings, of course, even as we are questioning the president's interest in who succeeds him, my question is, with all this rock bottom relationship between the president and the deputy president, what is now the 2022 game plan of William Samoei Ruto to defeat and to take or to clinch the seat, the top seat?
First of all, I wouldn't. It is so sad that my colleague called the president. Did he say he's stubborn or something? The deputy president is not stubborn. He's just a determined person. Okay. And one of the things is, and first of all, I want us to know, I think in my own view, this is not his views, he knew very well that the kumi yangu, the kumi yako thing will not be taken off. One of the things that I like about Jubilee, and like he said, the government, they came in, and one of the things that they wanted to do is to unite the country. And they actually did that so well by forming the party that they formed. And it is self-destructive that they actually killed the same party themselves. And I think they are going to have the NDC sometime the end of this month. I wish them well, but I'm foreseeing chaos during that time. And so what I want to say, in the first term of Jubilee, the president and even the deputy came out and they told us clearly that they were laying the foundation of their development agenda for this country. And actually, I don't doubt that a lot was done in their first term. If you walk around here, this country, a lot of infrastructural development was done, power, roads, mention them. They did a lot of work in their first term. And then in their second term, they said, because we've done infrastructure in the first term, the second term, what do? We now actualize. Because when the president was asked, why are you borrowing a lot of money and putting on roads, putting on SGR, and it was not clear why that, because somebody would say that does not have a direct impact to an ordinary Kenyan. But then he said, in the second term, they came back with the Big Four agenda, now that would be anchored on what they did in the first term. But unfortunately, the Big Four agenda was interrupted, I don't know, by the same perceived division that we had in this country. You know, in an election, we should have somebody who will lose and somebody who will win. And it's not like we went to the election not knowing that the opposition leader will not get any position constitutionally. We knew it very clearly. So for me, it is, you know, it's just like somebody who loses and he doesn't want actually to accept losing, and therefore you whip your guys around, and then there's this chaos, and then again, because the other now guys would not even do the Big Four agenda.
So what is the game plan?
Yeah, so the Big Four agenda had to come up. You know, the handshake had to come up. They wasted a lot of time around BBI. I don't know. So and now the game plan, what Ruto has done, because the Kumi Yangu, Kumi Yako thing may not be taken off. So he decided to go back to the people. And that's what he has actually done. He has gone back to the people, and he has come up with the hustler thing, and where we are talking about bottom up. Bottom up is to say, let's develop an ordinary Kenyan, and in so doing, we'll be able to grow. We feed into the big economy, because the ordinary Kenyan will be having something to do each and every day. They will be paying tax. Their livelihoods will also be realized. And so the plan is that he has right now, because the Kumi Yangu, Kumi Yako, because that should have been an endorsement, you know. So it's not going to be taken off. So the guy, that the deputy president, has gone back to the people. And his agenda is resonating really well with the people. And you can see it. You can watch and see what is happening currently in the country. I know people are saying that many governors are supporting Raila Odinga. And then if you look around, I think Raila Odinga is playing the old politics, and Ruto has a new way of doing politics. Because for him, he has gone back to the people. He's gone back to the MCS, people's representatives, and also the senators and the member of parliament. He's deciding to work with that. And you can see the reception he's receiving all around the country, because he's speaking into the issues of the people. Just before you cut me short, look at, I was just even telling my friend in the back room there that currently Kenyans are struggling with the effects of COVID-19 that we suffered in 2020. So if you came to me today with Azimio la Umoja, you know, me right now, my problem is what I will eat in the evening. I don't feel disunited from you, my brother. I don't feel disunited from anybody else. What I want is how my kid will get bread, how I'll be able to take care of my bills. That is what matters to me today. So as a presidential aspirant, talk to me, and I was actually telling him, even if the deputy president promised some of these things and failed to do, he's actually speaking into the problem of the Kenyan today. And even if he failed to do after we elect him, he will go down as somebody who talked about the people's president, the people's problems as they were by that time. And so for me, I don't feel unity. Unity is key, but and again, we are not divided in Kenya. Why do we always think we are divided?
Thank you so much, Mr. Masika.
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Masika is telling us that William Ruto is talking about the issues of the common man.
Very true.
And that is the game plan of William Samoei Ruto. But again, he says in the same breath that even if William Samoei Ruto does not actually do what exactly he said, then he will go down as a president who actually talked about what the people actually really need. I really want to get to understand what happens if he does not do it, because you've said that
I didn't say
it's possible.
Yeah.
According to your statement, it is possible that he talks about it, but fails not to do it. But we're going for a short break. We are going to come back, and of course, Mirimo Nyongesa, we are going to hear from you what you think about the bottom-up approach, because that is what is happening, and that is actually what entirely.
And Milimo will also be talking to us about
William Ruto's campaign is based on. And of course, we're also going to talk about all those things. Of course, those are found in the inside, of course, where we discuss, and of course, we chew these policies, these political policies into things that you can understand, into issues, or that you can chew easily, that you can swallow easily. Well, of course, this is the insight. You can, of course, converse with us. 211 there is our SMS line, and we are going for a short break, but we will be right back after this break. Welcome back to the inside, of course, with Eugene Ochieng Kwach. And of course, I still have Mirimo Nyongesa, and My guest here, of course, the two guests, we are here to discuss politics and nothing but politics. But of course, we have heard from Mr. Meshak Masika, Samuel Masika, and of course, we also want to hear from Nyongesa. Nyongesa, Masika has been talking about the bottom-up approach. Of course, that is what majorly the William Samoei Ruto, that is the deputy president, has majorly based his campaigns on. And we are asking, what is the game plan of William Samoei Ruto, even as we head towards 2022? How is he going to beat Raila? Because it's now like it's either Raila or Ruto. And what do you think about the game plan, actually, as he puts it?
Before I address the bottom-up approach thing, let me dissect a little bit on the background, or rather, what led to William Ruto embracing the hustler narrative, the hustler thing, and the bottom-up approach agenda. I think, as I've said before, the president's core agenda was to unite the country. And whatever they did in 2013 and run up to 2017 was cosmetic, or rather superficial in one way or another. Understand? Because there's no way you would unite the country without addressing, the divisions that have been in this country are structural, they're fundamental. Understand? So Uhuru had to understand historical injustices from the perspective of historical injustices for him to unite the country, and he realized the divisions between the Luo nation and the government, not even Kikuyu nation per se, the division between Luo nation and the government of the day have always been historical, understand, since the Kenyatta days, the older Kenyatta. And so that's why he decided to bring Raila on board, understand, to heal the nation as a whole. You see? So, because of William Ruto's selfish ambitions to gun for the presidency, he understood Raila Odinga being brought on board will scuttle his chances of being the next president, which was not the president's original intention. His original intention was to unite the country, to give him ample and peaceful time to implement his agenda, Big Four agenda and all that stuff, you understand? But because the deputy president is used to playing the victim card, he bolted out. And that's why if today you asked any Tanga adherent as to what exact role does Raila play in Jubilee government, they won't give you an answer. They won't give you an answer. You see, constitutionally, they won't give you an answer. Raila has no office in Jubilee government, you see. Uhuru is only seen looking at it from the prism of the deputy president was to bring Raila on board, you see. But we, as 47 million Kenyans, we lauded the approach. We really
no, let me ask you this question. Do you think, actually, that if William Ruto, will keep quiet or maybe relax when Raila Amolo Odinga was brought on board, don't you think that will make the premier, that is Raila Amolo Odinga, the former premier, maybe a bit higher than William Samoei Ruto? Because actually it will now be like Raila consulting the president. And now it actually, for example, when they got together, they brought in the handshake that culminated to BBI. If even William Ruto said that yes to BBI, and actually they continued until to the end, until the plebiscite, don't you think that perhaps even William Ruto will not even be William Ruto, or even be considered as a top contender going towards 2022?
Let me ask you. Has Raila ever been a political toddler, with or without William Ruto, with or without Jubilee government? Raila has always been strong politically, you see. So Raila did not join Jubilee government to rejuvenate his political career. Understand? With or without Jubilee government, Raila would have been the Raila we know. Understand? And so Uhuru brought him on board not to resuscitate his political career. It was to unite the country. Let's put politics aside, you see. Sometimes it's not always good to bring politics in each and everything. Understand? And so because William Ruto is used to playing politics with each and everything and playing the victim card, he bolted out. And he went back to the people, as my friend said, understand? To now to scuttle the efforts from within. You see? And he came up with the hustler thing.
Mr. Mirimo Nyongesa, kindly, you have been my friend.
Yes.
And I know that you've been a supporter of the hustle narrative and the bottom-up approach, actually.
Yes.
That is what actually...
Is that defecting,
is championing the political analyst, Mr. Masika. What actually made you bolt out from the hustler narrative to champion the hustler narrative? And
to Azimio la Umoja.
Ardent support of the Azimio la Umoja.
That's where I was headed.
Exactly.
You see, first of all, let's understand that the Building Bridges Initiative, the BBI, the BBI agenda,
the illegal BBI.
The only problem with the hustler narrative, or rather the hustler agenda, that after intense introspection of myself and intense dissection of the narrative that made me to bolt out is that I found it to be a hoax. And I'll tell you why. William Ruto is going out in the name of empowering entrepreneurs. Understand? Talking of building an industrial base, you see, that will actualize the dreams of the young entrepreneurs. Understand? One thing William Ruto doesn't understand is that in terms of productivity, we're not that far much behind. Kenyans are very productive. You cannot address productivity without addressing markets. There's no single day William Ruto has come out to address the issue of markets. Kenyan economy started hurting the moment our bilateral and multilateral relations went haywire.
Okay, let me get this from Mr. Masika. Masika, what do you think?
I like what my brother is saying. So for him defecting from the hustler narrative, I think it's personal, you know. It has nothing to do with something concrete.
Okay.
It is, you know, we first of all we need something to sell for us to source for markets.
Okay.
It's okay, he has acknowledged that Kenyans are industrial people, they are hardworking. But we have not really made it a serious agenda in this country that somebody who is doing a small garden in the village down there, they can actually mass produce and sell those items. So first of all, what the bottom-up thing is doing is to address those disparities between now the market. You actually need to bring something quality on the market. And the bottom-up thing is empowering that person down there. I've had people really talking about the wheelbarrow each and every time. William Ruto just came up, you know, to give a few people wheelbarrows, but are you guys giving oranges right now?
Just a minute.
No, let me finish. He just gave a few people wheelbarrows. And he gave actually car washing machines and motorbikes. Why are we not calling the UDA party a party of whatever? You know, wheelbarrow, the car washing machines. Why wheelbarrows? Is it because we picked it for a symbol of the party or what? Are you guys giving out oranges in the party you've defected to? No. So it is actually wrong to think that he left because what if we got a market today, what will we be selling to that market? Because actually, let's talk about the big productive sectors in this country. Agriculture is one of them. We are actually struggling to revive the coffee thing, the tea thing. You know, maize. Farmers are struggling
Before
out
I forget,
here.
that's what was headed on the agricultural part.
And so you cannot say, first of all, let's have quality products before we address the market thing. And Ruto does not have a personal grudge or problem with any international community. You know, there are people who rely on this country for some productive resources. So I wouldn't look at it as if William Ruto became a president today, that those people will stop buying from us.
Just a minute on the market part.
Yes.
Just a minute.
Okay.
First of all, you need to understand that I'm not blaming William Ruto for our lack of stakes in the global market.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
Two, I'm not saying that if William Ruto became the president today, we'll be locked out of the international market.
Thank you.
Kenya, the only thing I'm telling you is that William Ruto is not genuine in his agenda. There is nowhere he has told us on how he's going to craft his way into Kenya accessing the international market. We lost our stakes.
But why don't we first of all have some?
Wait first. Kenya is largely an agro-economy. It's largely an agricultural-based economy. You see. So I really don't understand who is this entrepreneur William Ruto is so divinely committed to empowering when farmers from his own backyard are suffering. They're having the maize is rotting in stores. They don't have a market. You see, you understand? The NCPB is
if I may,
is leveraging on their sweat. You understand? So if William Ruto was really genuine on empowering the common man, the common entrepreneur, then he would start with farmers from his own backyard. Let him incentivize and subsidize.
I would like my brother here to know that currently, whatever we are producing locally cannot actually feed this country. We have a deficit. So we don't need to sell the little maize. We actually need, first of all, to ensure, the people who produce are not the consumers. Like, for example, in northern Kenya, they don't grow maize, but they need maize for food. So what we do, first of all, we need to satisfy the local market, something that has not been happening. We only sell the surplus that William Ruto, when he becomes president, he will look for international partners to buy surplus from us.
Before you interject, I also forget this.
Yes.
You have to understand that our market is not being satisfied, not because our consumption is high.
Yes.
It's because our pockets are dry.
Say that again.
Understand?
Yes.
It's because our pockets are dry. Even if they brought you today, even if they brought maize, understand? For Kenyans to buy, even at 50 bob per kg or per 2 kilograms.
Yes.
The farmers will still go back.
And whose mistake is it that you don't have money?
Understand? Okay. It's because other sectors are not running.
Yeah.
Other sectors, in as much as they're productive.
And they think that
so he has diluted the market thing.
Okay.
Currently what we have can only satisfy us, and we actually even have a deficit.
Let's talk politics.
Yes.
We'll come to economy a bit later.
Okay.
Well, before I forget this, there's a businessman who has taken Dr. William Ruto to court, claiming he has stolen his intellectual property, that is the bottom-up model. Is there weight in this, or this man is just
that guy is a Azimio la Umoja sympathizer, even when I don't know whether we are looking at this, the bottom up approach that this guy is taking the Hustler Nation to court with. Are we, this thing does not even have an owner at the moment. Who is he going to sue, first of all? We want to look at it that way. Because at the moment, the bottom-up thing has been owned by a large number of Kenyans. So first of all, I would want to know who is going to the guy is suing. And then he has taken too long before to realize that the bottom-up thing is idea. And he needed to bring the complaint earlier. Okay. And an economic idea, even many economic ideas that are being implemented in big economies in this country, someone has done it already. So it's not like, so nobody is going to own this idea, because even the policies that have been used by other successful presidents, they are policies that really looked like somebody else's policies. Do we have Ruto reading that script? The playbook for UDA, is it that patented property of the guy who is going to court? It is not. The bottom-up idea, actually, I wanted him, he was telling us, one of the things I like about William Ruto is every time you throw at him a stone, he uses it to build a house. I was thinking he was going to tell us how the hustler thing came up.
Gentlemen, we are short of time.
Okay.
Let me ask this to Mr. Berimu Manyongesa.
Yeah.
Ruto visited Mount Kenya, and of course he seemed out of age, even threatening governors who support Raila Amolo Odinga.
That's an overstatement. He didn't.
With regard to Mount Kenya,
yes.
I think I appreciate the fact that William Ruto has made quite a number of inroads within the region, and he has a solid base within the region. I appreciate that fact.
Thank you.
But I think he's also overstating his mandate.
Okay.
He's overstepping his limits. I think he should at least respect the fact that the president is the kingpin of that backyard. Understand? So the act of him going around threatening the political leaders from the region, I think with time, and we're all going to confirm this, it won't sit well with the electorates of Mount Kenya. Yes, that was a very bad move from him.
My brother, he didn't threaten. I have seen that thing thrown out of proportion. When the deputy president was actually on the roof of his car, when he said that the governor Kraitu Murungi asitubebe sisi kama, he said asitubebe sisi, the way we normally say usitubebe ujinga. It's not like we can't make decisions on ourselves. That is what he said. So he was telling the electorates, just so that the governor, which is supposed to be an absent audience anyway, he was saying these people can make decisions on their own. Yes, that's what he said. He didn't threaten.
But why would William Samoei Ruto think that Kiraitu Murungi is trying to impose Raila on them?
Because now you looked at how ecstatic.
There are other leaders who.
Did you look at how ecstatic the Meru people were when they were receiving the deputy president? And you think in such a moment you would actually say, our watu, they need, somebody wants to just look like they can't think for themselves and he wants to give them out. Somebody was telling me yesterday that the same crowd that received Raila Odinga when he went to Meru is the same crowd that received William Ruto, which I do not disagree. And you look at the excitement when they were receiving Raila Odinga and the excitement when they were receiving William Ruto, you can quickly see the difference. And one of the things that I want to agree is the same electorates that are actually receiving these people. So the final nail on the coffin is going to be the ballot. Because, but again, you're looking at just the body language of the crowd, the way the excitement of the crowd, you can quickly, you know, sometimes even voting is done by acclamation.
Let me ask you this question, this simple question. Is William Samoei Ruto able to hold the Mount Kenya vote even to the last minute?
I wouldn't want to speculate because politics is just like, you only need a day to change things. But what William Ruto has done, he has befriended himself with the people of Mount Kenya. And every time he has a very positive reception, he goes there. My prayer is this relationship is sustained or through August 2022, and so that we can actually answer you positively. But looking at how things are going, William Ruto is the most popular candidate in the mountain, and actually he's, as much as Baba is a tractor, I know he may need an athlete also to assist him, to show him around, just like William Ruto said, because he said he has made inroads there.
Yes, is Oka in limbo? We have the ANC, which is throwing tantrums and blaming Kani chairman Gideon Moi by suggesting that they are willing to work with Raila. Do you smell any mischief? Is there anything that is happening in the ANC? Is it at limbo?
No. Save for Gideon, I think Oka has got very funny and interesting characters. Mudavadi is one political character who expects by the mere fact that he has been going around with Raila in previous campaigns. Okay, not even previous campaigns. That's just 2007 and 2017. In 2013, he bolted out. 2022, I don't know what exactly his intentions are. That Raila should throw his weight behind him. And not really Raila throwing his weight behind him, but Raila should hand him the presidency. In that Raila should go out, hunt for the game meat, come back, slaughter it, roast it, and everything I gave Mudavadi. You understand? You know, which is not really the case. You know, if Mudavadi really proved himself that he has the numbers, you know, politics is a game of numbers. If Mudavadi was bold enough to come out, seek votes as any other candidate, pretend the strength that he really claims he has, see, then it will be fair enough to listen to him. But even me as a lawyer, yeah, it will be really a waste of time.
Okay, well, let me hear from you, sir.
Like I've said, you cannot underestimate anybody in politics. You can imagine if today, because Oka has, I don't know, Oka has been looking like a friend of the state, all of it, and currently, and looking at how the cabinet secretary are in support of Baba, then I can say Oka, Baba, and they are the friends of the state. That's why we are saying William Ruto is people's project, and Raila Odinga is the state's project. Before you come in, and I wouldn't underestimate what Musalia Mudavadi is doing, though he needs to change tact a little bit. And it's possible for us to have a third force from Oka. If an Oka can actually spoil the 2022 matrix, if they decided to come up together, because you know in Kenya you have to have 50+1 to be the elected president. So if Oka today just worked around their thinking, their philosophies, and so they got serious, so that they, as a team, they have one presidential candidate. Another thing that you said, the reason why you're saying we have 2 horse race, it's because it's clear, even Raila Odinga is saying he's going to declare in 2022 what? Because we already know he's going for the presidency. So unless he's waiting for Oka to come and attend his crowning in December, we already know he's going, and he can't give it to these other guys. And that's why the Wetangulas and Musalia feel Raila is selfish, which I personally also feel the same, because these guys, he has really tried a number of times. Why can't he even give one of his friends to also try, and he supports him, and we see how Kenyans are going to
just to add on that before we move on to the next question.
Yes.
A few months ago, or let me say a few weeks ago, we heard Jimmy Wanjigi declaring his bid for the presidency. And I can tell you, in the 3 days or 1 week that Jimmy Wanjigi came out that he wants the presidency, he actually made himself more relevant than all the years Mudavadi has been claiming he's going to gun for the presidency. Understand? And so that tells you that Mudavadi needs some element of aggression if he really means business for these for the seat in the House at the Hill. Understand? And so as Raila Odinga will be going to declare his bid for the president on 9th December 2021, I want to speak this as a Luya, and I want to tell my fellow Luyas, understand? Let's ignore all these foul and penalty seekers. You know, these are football game. So these are the Oka players.
Please, you will also give me something to say.
They're like players in the pitch seeking a penalty. Understand? Like want to pretend that we're really strong so that we can have stakes on the bargaining table. We're welcoming them. Come within Azimio. We are ready to listen and negotiate with you. You see, but equally, lingine yote kutafuta penalty, we won't listen to you. So Luyas, we have always been behind Raila. This time round, we're not making a mistake. We are tunakaribia hii kitu. Let's put our votes in one basket.
Okay. My brother Ocheng, I will not speak as a Luya. I'm a Luya, but I'm going to speak as a Kenyan. Look at what Musalia Mudavadi is talking about, pesa mfukoni. I think Ford Kenya have something like that. Kanu has something like that. Their ambitions and their aspirations cannot even fit in Azimio la Umoja. The only place that these guys fit is the bottom-up thing, because they are speaking what we are speaking. And actually we like it because I don't know whether we inspired them or stuff like that, but the only place they fit is in bottom-up movement.
Stop hiding behind Mudavadi's ideologies, because it's in the best interest of William Ruto's presidency to have Mudavadi on the ballot. You see, so that he denies Raila Odinga's access to Western voting bloc. You understand? Really? And so you're not going to listen to all those flowery and appealing language.
You know, personally, my brother, me, I stopped looking at politics from the tribal bit. But I want to talk like a young man. You know, there's this edge of people in this country who would even ask you, you tell them, I want to marry, and they ask you from which tribe. You know, for me, really, that is not important. I want to talk as if I'm a Kenyan. I understand politics is a bit regional in Kenya, but we are getting out of that thing. As young people, we just want to remove that politics from our mind. And so I'm saying, if Musalia is coming to join the bottom-up thing, let him join as a Kenyan. Let him come with his supporters. One of the things that I agree with him, and I've always told my friends, because most of the guys that are working closely with Musalia are personal friends of mine, he needs some aspect of aggression, because that is what Kenyans want.
Okay, gentlemen, we are short of time.
Okay.
Of course, we are winding up, but of course, I want to pose this question, of which we are going to make our closing remark with. There's a corruption in the judiciary arm of government. Of course, the Sonko video leaks making rounds in social media. Justice for sale to the highest bidder. The question, how do we purge corruption in Kenya? Like, you saw the video. I don't know whether you guys saw the video.
Seen it on
yes, maybe if you can make your final remarks, even as you talk about this, the corruption, how do we purge corruption in Kenya? Then, of course, I'll give it to Masika.
Just to address on the...
In 30 seconds.
Okay, give me a minute. To address on that, I looked at the video, and I think I'll address this from both the political perspective and from the legal perspective as a lawyer. From the legal perspective, I looked at that video, and I couldn't see anything that pointed to that judge having received a bribe. There are just two parties within a room having a normal talk, and which judges are allowed to welcome people in their chambers. I've been to court and I always sometimes go to the magistrate's chambers or the judge's chambers, and we have a talk on quite a number of issues, understand? So I wouldn't really talk much on the same, but on justice being available to the highest bidder is debatable. It's something that has been happening, and I think the president, through the JSC, can address on the issue. From the political perspective, I think Sonko has really become a nuisance of a kind. And sometimes they say, do not insult the crocodile when you're behind is still in water, understand? This one man who is trying to sink, you know, in one or another, he behaves like a jilted lover. The judiciary recently threw out his numerous petitions challenging the swearing in of the new governor, Anne Mwendo Kananu. And I think out of the bitterness, he wants to sink with the entire judiciary by mudslinging them. But he forgets that, okay, God forbid, that he also has graft cases in court, understand? And of which, whether he's innocent or guilty, we don't know. But there's a principle of equity that says there is ipsa loquitur. The thing speaks for itself. We can all know whether Sonko is guilty or not.
Your closing remarks, Ken?
Yes. So my closing remarks on the political space?
Everything.
On everything. I want to urge all Kenyans, all youths, women, wazee, to consolidate all the aspirations within Azimio la Umoja. Baba has a solid agenda, a promising agenda for the progress of this country and to resuscitate whatever we had lost and or whatever is dying.
Mr. Masika.
The Justice Chitambwe allegations. Chitembwe or Chitambwe. Chitembwe. You know, it is Songo's word against the people that were in that room. Songo has been known for recording videos, and some of them are actually, you know, they are not even sanctionable in court. You know, nobody sent you to record that video, and it's even intrusive for you when you're sitting with people and you're recording. You know, it can't actually hold. And one of the things that he has done is tainting the reputation of the judge. And you know, right now, nobody will believe that judge. Because justice, just like politics, is perceptional. You know, if I come before you and I think you have been bribed before, you know, I will not believe you. Even today, if my case was taken before that judge, I will feel, first of all, the ground is not flat from the start.
Okay. What's your closing remarks?
So my closing remarks, politically, I would say I want to urge all Kenyans to consolidate all their efforts, and so that we support our chief hustler, the Deputy President William Ruto, who has good plans for this country, and he wants to grow this country. He's also looking at empowering young people, and just by ensuring that everybody has something to do, let us shun away from this Azimio la Umoja. Actually, we are not divided. Right now, we are divided because we do not have resources against them that have resources. So we want to work hard, and we want to work under a system that gives us the opportunity to work, and that is under the bottom-up approach. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for honoring the invite.
Okay.
I'm glad to have you on the bench. Of course, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen who are, of course, outside, who are viewing us, of course, at this time. You know, probably know that when it's Friday, 8 p.m., then we have the insight where we discuss politics. On this bench, we bring political pundits, we bring various stakeholders who, of course, through their lenses and through their eyes, through what they say, we get to understand various happenings in the political architecture of Kenya. And of course, as we're heading towards 2022, there is much, much more that is lined for you. Conversations that will indeed enlighten you, educate you, even as a voter. So as we are going and gearing towards 2022, you know what kind of leaders to choose and what exactly to expect, even in the political landscape. What actually, because we look and study, even historically, what these leaders have been doing, and of course now what we expect them even to do, even as we head towards 2022. Of course, that has been my time, Eugene Ochieng, and of course on behalf of every other person who has made this a success, I want to wish you a very good night. Meet us here on this platform, of course, at GBS TV Africa, at Eugene Ochieng, Quach, at 21144, there is our SMS line, and talk with us, interact with us. Of course, till next Friday, On behalf of everyone else, do have a good night.